Of all the amazing things the new Mall Shadowlord show has brought us, one of the standouts has been JANIX, the city where the show's taking place, full of violent criminal gangs fought back desperately by an understaffed police force. This city is amazing. I couldn't build it in full scale, but I did the next best thing, and I built it in micro scale. I'm about to take you on the journey of all the prep and all the building that went into this Lego model. All good projects start with the foundation, so I picked out a 32 by 32 stud base plate and quickly built up a black border around the edge. With the border done, I took out all my colorful filler bricks and laid out a smooth and sturdy foundation to build on. Then I plated it all off with light bluish gray plate. I didn't want this border to be just like any other build, so I built up raised corners and I would add slope pieces to the edge to give it a little more class. After I'd put all the corners down, I realized I needed to pull them all up and put a layer of 1x plate underneath so the tiles didn't stick up above the slopes. Sometimes you'd think that this was my first mock. Here's the finished border. I think it looks really good, especially seeing how many flat black borders we see these days in mocks. I think it gives it a lot more character to it, and it's just much more visually appealing to look at, especially from above. I off camera built a little plan using some colorful bricks, and now I'm taking off the colorful bricks that I laid out and building some sci-fi buildings. We see a lot of these in a lot of different shapes and colors, so I just let my imagination run free with this one and just build whatever I thought would look at home on this planet. You can see I'm making use of some 1x2x4 slopes and inverted slopes to give the front of the building a nice beveled edge. I've never built anything in micro scale or any sci-fi buildings before, so this was an interesting new challenge. I was trying to sprinkle in textures, but I didn't want to use up all my parts on just the first building, and I wanted to leave plenty. The one thing I did go all out on was this roof. I added a bunch of greebling details and various small Lego pieces to give it a sci-fi texture. So life happened and I didn't get a lot of building time over the school week, but this is me about 6 days later, and as you can see, I've built up plenty of buildings in my downtime. I was focusing on adding sci-fi-esque buildings, as well as you can see I added dark bluish gray roads, and I was going to tile the rest of it off in light bluish gray. When I was making the buildings, I wanted to add color and also visually appealing shapes, so stacking cylinders, or at one building I used a bunch of Technic pieces to give it a cool effect. Some of them look like they'd be at home on Coruscant, while others look very unique, like we've never seen from Star Wars before. You can see here I pulled up some of the skyscrapers to completely tile off underneath them, and I built up a couple more cylindrical skyscraper designs, but I built them off camera. What a day I'm having. The last thing left to do was to place the skyscraper designs in their intended spots. Scene change. The last building left to build up was the central police station. We see a bunch of overhead shots of this in Mall Shadowlord, and it's basically a large dome structure that is suspended in the air with a second large circle on the outside. If that made any sense whatsoever, let me know in the comments. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. The last thing left to do was to replace all the skyscrapers, and let's go into an in-depth. And this is my JANIX mock. This might be one of my favorite mocks to date just because of how cool it is with all the references and Easter eggs to the show. I love the black border, especially with all the tiles. I feel like that really adds a lot to any mock. And now let's start off with the elephant in the room. I do think the police station is the weakest of all the buildings, but my collection of white is pretty limited, so I worked with what I had to somewhat recreate the shape. Maybe I'll do a better job again some other day. I also really like this building. I feel like this one would be at home on Coruscant. And back here, this is the bank. We see Maul rob this with some of his goons in the early scene, and I added the triangle opening doors, and I think that adds a lot. And then this is the warehouse where Vario and the other crime boss meet to discuss the bank robbing. And I tried to add a bunch of just sci-fi texture to all the buildings, and wanted to make each one especially unique from the others. Over here, this one I even built using Technic bricks with the pins, and I just built the foundation and then plated it and tiled it all. One thing I really love about this mock is just all the different kinds of sci-fi buildings. This one looks like one of the Coruscant skyscrapers because of the slopes and the curved slopes with the tiny little gap in the middle. I think that one's pretty cool. And then this one was made by I used an axle and stacked a bunch of cylinders just to give it that cool look. Now over here, this one looks like a clone base I would build, and I just put that in as a small building. It just makes me happy. And then this one is made using cylinder pieces with some round bricks stacked in the middle. And then those are the cop cars, which are pursuing Maul's hijacked credits transport. And over here, I wanted to build the wires that we see, but there's no real way to do that well in Lego and make it look like we see it in the show. Now moving around here, you can see that this is the chase where they're chasing after the credits transport, and the sand blue's supposed to represent the squad cars. And I really love this scene. This was my favorite scene from the show so far, when the Jedi just absolutely obliterates the credits transport. And then this one is made from using some different larger slope elements and wing pieces. I really just like it. I feel like it reminds me of the other Coruscant one you see on the mock. And now here's the police station. Like I said before, I didn't have a lot of white, but I feel like I captured the overall shape of it. And if you look at this one and then look at the police station, they kind of look similar. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of how I would have built this better in the comments, but I do think it looks pretty good considering what I had to work with. And now back to the first building you saw me build, and one of the few that I caught on camera. I used jumper plates to angle the windows that would match like the beveling of the slopes, and I really do love the greebling on top. I feel like that adds just so much to Star Wars builds. And now over here I did the same thing, just to a bit of a lesser extent than the one before. And now I added a bunch of studs to represent characters and cars moving throughout the city, and the light bluish gray tile is supposed to represent the sidewalks, while the dark bluish gray is supposed to represent the paths. And I just built up some cool car designs and sprinkled them wherever I thought they looked good. Now over here, this is one of my favorite buildings. This one I feel like looks like a sci-fi train station, and I'm all for it. I really like the curved slopes with the regular slopes. I feel like it's just such a simple design, but it just looks so cool and sci-fi-esque. Maybe I should make a clone base that looks like this. And that was the mock. Let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments. And while you're down there, if you'd please leave a positive comment, those always make my day, or a like or a subscribe. Thank you all so much, and peace out.